Hi, my name is Brianna Nunes, and I'm a master teacher at the Children's Center. At the Children's Center, we believe in the importance of social emotional development in promoting children's success at home, in school, and in life. Just as we teach children their ABCs, or how to swim, or multiply, or drive a car, we must teach them the social and emotional skills they need to have self awareness, manage their emotions, and build relationships. One very meaningful way we can do this is by the expectations we set for them and the language we use to help them understand those expectations. Through positive descriptive acknowledgement, or PDA, we can encourage positive behaviors and reduce challenging behaviors. We use PDA at the Children's Center and are here to support you in using it at home too. There are 4 key points to remember when using PDA. To help explain them are 2 of our teachers, Jasmine Estrada, followed by Shelley Cole.
The first is what we call scanning for success. It's easy in our busy lives, especially now when we are home together a lot, on Zoom meetings or otherwise occupied, to pay attention to our children when we hear a problem or when they misbehave, especially for those with siblings. For example, you look up when you hear a conflict arising, or go help when you hear she's hitting me, but for children without siblings as well. Maybe it's when they get hurt because they're running inside, or perhaps when you finally answer the mom, 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 mom with an exasperated what? But constantly putting out fires is exhausting for adults and children. Rather than putting out fires and telling children, don't, stop, or no, we want to scan for success. We want to tell them what to do rather than what not to do. This strategy, called positive descriptive acknowledgement, or PDA, brings our focus to children's positive behaviors. For example, saying, "You are being so gentle with your brother," is more effective than "stop hitting," or if you catch your child when she is sharing, giving her a PDA. "You are sharing your toys," will be more impactful than telling her, "You need to share," or having to problem solve after a toy was grabbed. Children need to see and hear in the moment what they are doing right. The second key point is to say what you see. With PDA, we want to describe the positive actions we see, just like a camera. For example, "You are using your spoon to eat your food," or "You are using a soft voice inside the house." By pointing out the positive behaviors your child does specifically, you are helping them become more confident and competent. For example, when you say, "You are walking inside, you are being so safe," you are helping your child learn how to be safe rather than correcting them with "don't run inside." Or when you say, "Wow, you poured that milk all by yourself, you are getting so strong," you are boosting their confidence and independence. When you say what you see, you are also boosting your child's language development with new vocabulary.
The third key point is to acknowledge effort versus outcome. With positive descriptive acknowledgement, the goal is to acknowledge the child's effort. Saying something like, "You are trying so hard to zip that coat," or "Wow, you worked a long time on that painting," will acknowledge their efforts and develop persistence. It is okay if they do not succeed, but describing their effort will encourage them to try again. PDA is different than praise. When we praise children using phrases like "good job," we are not really helping them understand what exactly they did well. If children hear "good job" frequently, it loses value and can become less effective. Praise may give them a brief pat on the back, but it doesn't help them understand expectations or what they are capable of. Which leads us to the fourth key point. We want to do the you. Instead of saying, "I like it when you," simply start with you. Attaching "I like" or "I see" or even "thank you" attaches a value judgment and gives them the idea that they are doing something for you rather than for themselves. For example, instead of I like it when you pick up your toys. You can say, you are picking up your toys. Now you will have space to play with something else. Or instead of, I like it when you help your brother, you can say, you are putting shoes on your little brother. You are so helpful. PDA takes practice. In order to give your child specific feedback about behavior, you need to know exactly what it is you want them to do. For example, if you are finding that getting ready for bed is challenging, you might try using PDA to help your child understand what to do. Children often misbehave, not because they are trying to give up time, but simply because they do not understand what is expected of them. The more so think about exactly what you want to see happen at bedtime and make a list of each step. The more specific, the better. Then you can acknowledge them positively as they complete the steps. For example, you walked to your room and got your pajamas on all by yourself. Or you remembered that after you put on jammies, you brush your teeth. Or, wow, you picked out books quickly and now we have time to read 3.
Using PDA is of course helpful throughout the day, in any moment, but using it to promote social emotional skills and reduce challenging behaviors can be particularly helpful. Talk to your classroom teacher if you need help with breaking down the steps to a routine and brainstorming PDAs you might use with your child. There are also several great examples on a handout called Tell Me What to Do Instead that is linked in the video description. To summarize, remember the 4 key points. 1, scan for success. When we look for misbehavior, that's what we find, and miss opportunities to acknowledge positive actions. 2, say what you see, just like a camera. 3, acknowledge effort versus outcome. And 4, do the you, avoiding I like and simply start with you. As with learning any new skill, practice makes permanent. It helps to plan what PDAs you might give your child, so think of behaviors you want to see and make a list of ways to acknowledge them. You might even put post-it notes around the house to remind you of what to say. Lastly, be patient. Don't expect to see major change overnight, but with repetition and frequent PDAs, your child will internalize the feedback you are giving them. The more we point out the positive behaviors we observe children doing, the more they will continue those positive behaviors.